It's Tuesday, August 24th, and this is now on H&N.
While Kilauea is not erupting, the volcano alert level has been raised following hundreds of small quakes.
They're only 3 feet away.
Medical experts say COVID spread among Hawaii's kids is likely understated.
It was just getting louder and louder, and I didn't know what was actually going on.
A large boulder crashes into an East Oahu home.
Our vision includes freedom of navigation.
These stories, plus the vice president, is in Southeast Asia. Details coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for watching This Is Now. You got Jonathan and Ashley here coming to you from the H&N Digital Center. We have so much news to get to, included those latest numbers from the State Department of Health. We'll get to those in a second. But first, officials on the Big Island have raised the volcanic alert level from yellow to orange.
The U.S. Geological Survey detected a swarm of earthquakes at Kilauea overnight. We just spoke with Ken Hahn. He's the scientist in charge at the Hawaii Volcano Observatory.
Starting at about 4:30 p.m. yesterday, we saw an increase in seismicity at the summit of Kilauea in the southern part of Kilauea caldera. What's unusual about this increase in seismicity is not only the number of earthquakes, but that they cluster in a defined location. They're quite shallow, and they are rather continuous. And in the middle of the night, there was a fairly sharp set of earthquakes that lasted for about 10 minutes that looked like a possible intrusive event where magma moves up into the surrounding rock. The earthquakes are also accompanied by pretty strong ground deformation in the area, so that all leads us to believe that magma is moving upward into the rocks in the southern part of the caldera. We don't know at this time whether or not it might erupt or whether this event will just sort of taper off and the earthquakes will die off. So we were at yellow, which means that the volcano has been restless. There's been activity, earthquakes and things. The raised to orange here means that we've detected magma moving up close to the surface, and there is a potential threat of an eruption. While this eruption we don't believe is imminent, we haven't seen the signals that say that, those things can turn around quite rapidly. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of this movement of magma towards the surface.
Now to the latest coronavirus numbers. The state health department is reporting 565 new infections, along with one more death. The breakdown by island shows the Big Island with 100 cases, Maui with 70, 17 cases being reported on Kauai, 370 on Oahu, and 8 people were diagnosed out of state.
Based on recent testing on the Big Island, there's concern the spread of COVID among Hawaii's youngest residents is being understated. As of last week, the State Department of Education reported 430 cases over 2 weeks in schools across the state, but said there was no spread within the schools. Dr. Scott Miskovich, who helped lead Hawaii's testing effort, doubts that.
I do believe when I've heard that they're saying that there's very little spread at schools, no one knows that data. What we typically see is in the middle of cold and flu season, when the children return back to school, it just rises. So we will probably start to see more spread in the schools, regardless of mask wearing, because you still have the children sitting outside at lunchtime or going outside, having activities afterwards, and they're only 3 feet away. You combine that with masks that are tilted open on the sides, and they sit there in one class for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. We recommend an entire class get tested if one child in that class is positive.
Governor Ige says he is considering another shutdown as cases continue to spread across the state. I want to play out a portion of a press conference from yesterday.
Is a lockdown on the table? Yes, it would be. If the number of cases continues to grow exponentially as it has in the last 10 weeks, as Dr. Char had said, then we will have to take action to limit and ensure that the hospitals are not overwhelmed.
The governor has previously said that he does not support another statewide shutdown. He also says he does not have a specific number of cases or hospitalizations that would trigger another such lockdown, but he does say he's monitoring hospital capacity daily. Governor Ige also had a message for anyone planning a trip to the state.
We know that the visitors who choose to come to the islands will not have the typical kind of holiday that they expect to get when they visit Hawaii. So once again, I encourage everyone to restrict and curtail travel to Hawaii. Residents and visitors alike, it's not a good time to travel to the islands.
The Hawaii Tourism Authority is also encouraging anyone with travel plans to postpone them until November.
According to state data, 70.3% of the state's population has had at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. 70% is a step closer to a key threshold. In June, Governor Ige had said he would lift all restrictions once 70% of the population had been fully vaccinated. It represented the herd immunity goal. That term has fallen out of favor, and the calculus has changed because of the Delta variant, which is much more contagious. Experts say more of the population must now be vaccinated in order to stop the spread of COVID-19. Dozens of major events either have to postpone or cancel because of Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi's new restrictions on large gatherings. Sammy Solina has more on how this may affect you.
The mayor said the recent spike of COVID here on Oahu is actually largely due to gatherings. The new restrictions start tomorrow. Groups will be limited to 10 indoors and 25 outdoors. This is going to throw a wrench in concerts and weddings. Concerts at places like the Blaisdell and Waikiki Shell will also be shut down. Large weddings and conferences will be suspended as well. If one were to happen, they would need to follow the same rule for 10 indoors or 25 outdoors. The mayor says that gatherings at churches are allowed as long as people in groups of no more than 10 are separated from one another. Restaurants will be limited to 50% capacity. We asked people here on Magic Island what they thought about the added restrictions.
I don't feel it's fair to the people that have been abiding by the rules meaning what the governor has enforced or was enforcing.
I'm glad that there are restrictions. I was just kind of hoping that there would be more restrictions with such high cases. I am a travel nurse here, so I do get affected by how many COVID cases come in, and we are really packed at the hospital.
It was disappointing because I was looking forward to getting together with more people. I think right now people just need to do their part and get their vaccine.
Anything we can do to prevent the spread. I'm just getting over it myself. It's been really tough. I don't wish it upon anyone. It's been a life-changing thing, humbling, and I'm a changed person from it for sure. So, and anything they can do to stop this and push it back a little bit, I'm all game for it.
These new restrictions will be in effect until at least September 22nd. The mayor said he might extend this if it's needed. Sammy Solina for This Is Now.
New today, the FAA is investigating if Boeing employees are being pressured on safety issues. The agency sent out a letter to the aircraft maker. Investigators want to know if Boeing interferes with employees tasked with flagging safety problems with planes. These workers oversee safety functions during the design and construction of an aircraft. The FAA says it conducted a study with some of them and received responses from 35% that indicated their work environment does not support independence. Boeing says it's working with the FAA to make sure its employees have required independence. The company's process has attracted new interest since 346 people died in 2 Boeing 737 MAX plane crashes back in 2018 and 2019. The city prosecutor says he will not continue to pursue charges against 3 HPD officers in connection with the teen's death. Lynn Kawano has the update.
Steve Alm says he disagrees with the judge's decision, but he accepts it.
At this stage, we've done what we should do. We've done our due diligence. We've used what's available.
Honolulu's prosecuting attorney made it clear he believes the shooting death of 16-year-old I Remember Saikap by HPD officers Jeffrey Tom, Christopher Fetalusis, and Zachary Ani was not justified. But at a press conference said he would not continue prosecuting the 3.
in spite of what may have been said by the officers in their statements that came out at the preliminary hearing, we chose to believe the body-worn camera footage, which showed there was nobody in front of the Honda who would be in immediate danger if the car went forward.
A grand jury declined to indict the officers for the April 5th shooting in McCully. Days later, moved forward with murder charges in a district court complaint. Last Wednesday, Judge William Domingo ruled there was no probable cause to send the officers to trial, saying they were in danger when the Honda moved forward, reversed, and then moved forward again as it was surrounded. Officer Ani's attorney, Tommy Otake, responded to Alm's comments in a statement saying Mr. Alm marched forward with the same misguided arguments that the grand jury and court rejected. It was disappointing to hear him misrepresent the facts and disparage a good judge. Otake did commend him for not pursuing charges any further. Alm says his office will continue to review every fatal police shooting. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Fans of the Rolling Stones are mourning the loss of the iconic band's drummer. Charlie Watts' spokesperson confirmed his death today. The 80-year-old passed away peacefully in a London hospital. Watts played for the Rolling Stones for more than 50 years, anchoring the band's blues rock sound with his beats. Earlier this month, the band shared Watts had a medical procedure done for an unknown condition, and because of that, he would miss the North American leg of their No Filter tour. Charlie Watts is survived by his wife and daughter.
The vice president is in Southeast Asia outlining the regional policy goals, but she keeps getting asked about Afghanistan. Manisha Tank reports from Singapore.
There's been a very warm welcome for the US Vice President Kamala Harris here in Singapore. She's even had an orchid named after her by Singapore and had the opportunity to go and visit the rather famous Gardens by the Bay. But what was really in focus was the United States' position on the Indo-Pacific from a strategic and foreign policy point of view. She delivered a major speech on that early in the day, but any remarks that might have been prepared on that were preceded by addressing the situation in Afghanistan. And after that, she went on to talk about territorial disputes in the South China Sea with some very strong words for China.
Our vision includes freedom of navigation, which is vital to us all. The livelihood of millions of people depend on the billions of dollars in trade that flow through these sea lanes each day. And yet, in the South China Sea, we know that Beijing continues to coerce, to intimidate, and to make claims to the vast majority of the South China Sea.
Vice President Kamala Harris there in what was being billed as a major speech on the United States' vision in the Indo-Pacific region. Well, of course, the words were heard in Beijing, and there was a response from the Foreign Ministry, a spokesperson saying the current event in Afghanistan clearly shows people what the rules and the so-called order of the United States mean, and that was bringing into question some other comments that were made in that major speech by Vice President Harris around the rules-based order, an order, of course, which has been in place and advocated by the United States since after the Second World War. Well, the Vice President heads to Vietnam next, to the city of Hanoi, but Vietnam finds itself in the midst of a COVID-19 crisis, the Delta variant running rampant in the country, and even the military has been brought in to enforce the rules in Ho Chi Minh City, which is about 1,000 kilometers or so away from Hanoi. Manisha Tank for CNN, Singapore.
All right, speaking of Afghanistan, we just got some breaking news. Joe Biden was just speaking moments ago. I'm going to read what's on our wires. Right now, President Joe Biden said the U.S. is on track to complete its evacuation mission by August 31st, and he does say he does not have any plans to keep troops in the country past that date. Of course, we're going to continue to follow those developments as well here at HNN and on the CBS Evening News into NBC Nightly News. Want to switch gears because a lot of people have been talking about this, the weather. And the sky looks beautiful out there. Still some gray clouds out and about, remnants of Linda, which we were following all day yesterday. A lot of people got wet, including myself. When I tried to go to the mall, I just hung out in my car for a little bit, just waiting for that rain to stop. And I still got wet. So, I know some folks are still getting some rain out there today, so let's check in with Billy V to see who still needs to pack their umbrella.
Aloha, I'm Billy V. Here's your Tuesday forecast. And first of all, the effects of Linda, we're still feeling that here in the Hawaiian Islands, at least for the island of Kauai. It's got all of these rain showers that are just south of the island that are headed over towards the west, but it will be the Garden Island that will feel the shower activity for most of today. A couple of other things real quickly as we give you Kauai's forecast. Clearing by sunset, and the easterly winds are going to be 10 to 20 miles per hour. Once again, those rain showers will continue. Small craft advisories are in effect for the highlighted Hawaiian waters due to strong gusty trade winds, not only associated with Linda, but behind Linda. That's the trade winds. We'll talk about that coming up in a couple of moments. We also have some energy because of Linda on our east-facing shores. The high surf advisory is now gone. 2 to 4 feet wrap around the south-facing shore. Everything else is small. We will get a swell later on this week on the south-facing shores. So, drying out Hawaii Island, Maui County drying out. We should see some sunshine here in the midday starting at about noontime for the island of Oahu. But once again, Kauai will have the rain showers all day today. And as we go quickly to your 7-day forecast, you can see that there are going to be some trade winds that are going to be joining us in the forecast. Once again, tomorrow gusty, the rest of the week light trade winds, daytime high near 89 degrees. Get the latest on air online on your mobile device and at hawaiinewsnow.com.
Thank you, Billy. Now check this out. A very close call last night in East Honolulu. A giant boulder crashed into a home. Thankfully, it appears no one was hurt. It happened at around 8:30 on Mo'omuku Place in Hawaii Kai. A neighbor tells us the boulder banked off the second floor and landed in the carport, damaging a Jeep.
It sounded like an earthquake, and it was just getting louder and louder, and I didn't know what was actually going on until it finally crashed. And I thought really it was so loud and intense, it sounded like the house next door to me just collapsed.
It's unknown if this happened because of the severe weather yesterday, but the ground was soaked after hours of rain.
Let's turn to severe weather in Tennessee now, where the frantic search for survivors continues after a weekend of devastating, historic flooding in the region that took at least 20 lives. Sam Brock has the very latest.
In Waverly, Tennessee, we're now 3 days removed from historic floods, and there are still this morning about 20 people listed missing as homes were pulled from foundations, sheds dragged down to the creek bed here, and vehicles turned over. If you follow me underneath this bridge, you'll see a car upside down here. And that's not the only one. There are cars all up and down the creek bed as search and rescue crews right now are going down and trying to turn over debris now that the water is receded and look for victims. We are also hearing absolutely harrowing tales of parents doing whatever they can to save their kids' lives. One such individual, a man here in Waverly, who talked about the fact that he had his 7-month-old twins, Riley and Ryan, in his arms as the water came up almost to the ceiling of their home. And eventually he said, "I lost them. I just lost them." There are other children who have already passed away in this historic flooding disaster. We know right now that the president has approved a major federal disaster declaration, which hopefully will help some folks here with money to get temporary housing, low-cost loans. But the emotional toll that has been inflicted on Middle Tennessee right now, indescribable. In Waverly, Sam Brock, NBC News.
All right, want to switch gears here yet again and see what the internet is talking about. And so glad we get to some positive news here from a celebrity that everyone across the islands loves, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He gave a tour bus full of fans a big surprise outside his Hollywood home. I want to play out just a little bit of what happened here.
Hey, you guys know where I can find The Rock?
Loving this. Loving this. The superstar posted this video on his social media saying buses regularly roll by his house and just wanted to hop out there and make people happy. It's all part of fame is what he says. And that's the attitude to have, right?
Yeah. I mean,
just really embrace that.
So they're obviously still doing those like maps of the stars, homes and tours and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. That doesn't really look like it's going in with any good CDC group guidance there in that tour bus. But they are having fun. And I know celebrities get harassed by that stuff all the time in Hollywood. Just imagine having like your big multi-million-dollar home and then this loud diesel bus pulling out in front of it.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast. It's like what happened to Richard Simmons, and before he went into seclusion, he was one of the celebrities the tour buses would love to go by because he would run outside and jump on the bus and start singing with people.
Get your money's worth, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what like Leonardo DiCaprio or Johnny Depp does. So
Yeah.
I don't think they might
I
be
don't think
not
so
as
either.
nice, right?
Well, good for Dwayne. Speaking of celebrities, rapper Lil Nas X used to work at Taco Bell when he was a teenager. Now the Grammy-winning artist has been named Taco Bell's Chief Impact Officer. Now he's teaming up with the fast food chain for an exclusive experience around his upcoming album Montero in the next 60 days. There wasn't really details about what this experience will be. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So one of his first acts as Chief Impact Officer is a cameo in Taco Bell's new breakfast campaign.
Everyone is doing these celebrity collabs with fast food chains, right? Like we saw it with a couple other rappers earlier with McDonald's. We were talking about one last week too. And I know we've talked about it before. If anyway there was ever a This Is Now version of a fast food chain, I think we both agreed McNuggets,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Right. The Jonathan and Ashley McNuggets value meal, maybe? All right, more fast food news.
Yeah, we're going to take you to Japan for this one. So 7-Eleven convenience stores there, they plan to expand their delivery service. So 550 outlets in Tokyo, Hokkaido, and Hiroshima Prefecture in Western Japan currently have the delivery option, but the operator plans to expand the service to its roughly 2,000 stores across the nation by 2025. Now, customers can place orders online from stores within 1,600 feet away and have them delivered in as little as 30 minutes for a fee of $3. The minimum order is $9, and the move comes as the demand for delivery services continue to rise amid the pandemic. If you haven't been to the 7-Elevens in Japan, they are next level.
Different experience. Way big difference experience.
Cool.
And speaking of McNuggets, they had the best little chicken creation when I was there last time. It was like a deep fried chicken fried in fried garlic, which was amazing. I would have that delivered to my room for $9
Oh, yeah.
any day of the week. For sure.
And they have everything, makeup, clothes.
Yeah. Like I said, different experience.
Yes. Today's a very special day here in Hawaii. It's Duke Kahanamoku's birthday. So the legendary waterman was born on this day in 1890. The organizers of Duke's Ocean Fest are honoring him with a lei draping at his statue, and Ocean Fest is canceled again this year because of COVID. So people are encouraged to surf, swim, or play water polo or volleyball. Those are all the sports he loved, to give tribute to Duke. Post your activity on social media, tagging Duke's Day 2021 or Duke's Ocean Fest.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Still keeping the spirit of live there, of course. You guys, want to take you to our website right now. This is a live view of HawaiiNewsNow.com. Just wanted to tell you of a little couple other few stories that are coming up today. You can see right here, hundreds of National Guard members will continue to aid Hawaii COVID response. We just posted that on our website. Also, a lot of people ask me, hey, I didn't catch This Is Now live. How can I watch it? You just scroll down here. We have a little button right here that says This Is Now. You can watch that anytime after our live broadcast wraps up. And of course, don't forget, hit this button at the very top, podcasts. We have so many new podcasts. You don't think of a TV station of pumping out that kind of audio, but we are, and it's amazing. Please check it out. So guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now on this Tuesday. Man, this week's just flying by, right, Ashley?
It's only Tuesday, Jonathan.
I know, right? That was a Dan Cook joke. He used to say that every Tuesday on Sunrise, and I miss him. All right, guys, we'll see you back here on Wednesday. Wah, wah. Bye, guys.